Hey, cool, Oscorp looked accurate again. They even recreated the rooftop from the first movie. It's just in a completely different part of the city now.
Continuity. Boom.
Hey, this is part 2 of this review. Go check out the first one if you haven't already. There was so much to sort through, and I didn't want everyone to wait 3 months for a new video, so this one's broken up in 2 pieces. Which is topical, since Carnage is in this game. Also, I got a Twitter account because people kept telling me to get a Twitter account, so send your memes, fan art, and hate mail over there. Okay, thanks, here's the review now. Now let's get to the things that I do like. Well, Spider-Man has much better quips when he's swinging around, and even some good ones when he's fighting people.
Come on, you're not taking this seriously! Or are you really that slow?
The dialogue for him is less cringy and thoughtless, though it still hits some rough patches.
Spider Slam! I'm still experimenting with catchphrases.
And they even kept one of my favorite classic Spider-Man tropes. He just kind of talks to himself about things while he's swinging. It gives him time to introspect and consider if it's really worth it to switch cable providers.
If Kraven can teach me his hunting techniques, I won't have to rely on police broadcasts to find bad guys. It's not like I tell Kraven my real name. And I'll be on guard for any kind of double cross.
Or he goes on long rants about how unsuccessful his love life is. They did a decent job of emulating these moments in the game. I like the lighting effect for when he's in the shadow and all you can see are his eyes. I like that you can go walk around in the comic shop and talk to Stan Lee. I mean, it's weird that he's a dedicated character to this universe now, but can anyone complain about seeing this man in anything? Look at him. He's the guy everyone wishes was their grandpa.
Well, enough said. Anytime you need inspiration, I'll be right here.
Aw, he's so charming. Another thing that I appreciate is the unlockable costumes. I feel like that's almost something that should be expected from superhero games. Modeling new costumes was too expensive, so they used the models from the last 3 games to make up for it. And those honestly look way better than the main suit. This was the best on-screen costume for the character at the time, but the version in the game looks so shoddy and plastic. The blue segments are way too bright while the red is too dark. It looks awkward when doing animations and his proportions just seem off, like his neck is too thin. I don't know, if there was one character model that absolutely had to look right, it'd be this one. You'd be better off just wearing the one from the last game, which is weird because this one looks better now because the lighting effects are different in this game. Or just be Spider-Man Noir. I apparently came off as sounding like I don't like him in the Shattered Dimensions review, but I think he's awesome. He's just extremely easy to make jokes about. Which brings me to my next point. It's time for my favorite segment of these reviews, something I think you'll all recognize, a whole bunch of stupid shit.
Your call, Spider-Man. Chase us or let those people burn.
Chase us or let them burn? Wait, what? What? Chase you or let them burn? That doesn't make any sense. It should be chase us and they'll all burn or something. The voice actor in the booth should have at least brought it up that this was a typo or sounded wrong.
Business owners.
Who the hell took this picture? Was it him? Did he drop the camera while it was set to automatic and this was the resulting image before it shattered into as many pieces as Scorpion's jaw? Oh no, don't wear any formal attire to this party with a bunch of millionaires. Just wear your ratty Charlie Day jacket and basketball jersey. No one will notice. Why can't you hit him? He's standing still! Oh my god! Oh hey, they have to acknowledge the rhino suit thing. Yeah, can't exactly dance around that flub. I really want to know what circumstances led to this guy getting under this train in this way. I feel like depending on his location, he'd either be able to crawl out just fine, or he'd be pinned with thousands of pounds of force that should have snapped him into gravel. Or at the very least, Spider-Man removing the weight of this train in such a swift motion would suddenly depressurize his body and cause him to burst into a sea of crimson fluid spattering forth across the tracks of this unholy railroad. Or maybe he was just picking up a penny and his foot got stuck. Did I mention I'm trying to publish a horror novel? Why are there ads for Spider-Man comics in the opening of the game before Spider-Man even existed? Harry needs Spider-Man's blood to cure his disease, saying that he's the only healthy example of a cross species. Wait, but what about Black Cat? Wilson Fisk ordered scientists at Ravencroft to give her powers, and they succeeded. Why can't Harry just have them help him out since he's currently partnered with Fisk to fund the crime task force? Well, he says Fisk is waiting him out so he could buy Oscorp after he dies. But who on earth would want to do that? This company has a terrible reputation and seems just like a black hole for money because they spend all their annual budget on stupid shit like Jaegers to fight non-existent kaiju. Just let Harry live because he's like 19 and you could pretty much convince him to do anything if you helped him out a little. So you can still have Oscorp's resources and a business partner to help keep up public appearance. Especially when Ravencroft has the resources to do these kinds of experimental procedures more safely than Oscorp ever could. In fact, that's just another reason why Fisk should not want Oscorp. And if Fisk is still trying to strong-arm him out of the company, Harry could just threaten to blow the whistle on him and publicly say, Wilson Fisk is intentionally letting my health decline so he can steal the company after I die. They'd never sell stock to him then, and that would at least get the ball rolling for someone to investigate Fisk's crimes if Harry just up and died one day. I mean, at this point, what is there to lose, right?
More serious than death? I'll take my chances. Now get out!
Harry, hey wait! I figured out a solution for your disease! Hey, Harry? You gotta listen to me, Harry. Harry. Ugh! Fine, be that way. Turn green and die, you prick! We gotta stop people from defusing this bomb. Let's all stand around it in a circle to keep people away. Okay, here's the most stupid shit of all the stupid shit. The second story mission that closes out the plot thread about Carradine is such a mess that I feel like I really have to point out how much of a problem it is for the whole game. So Spider-Man sees this guy doing an arms deal in broad daylight right next to the street, despite how large this alley is, and Spider-Man's first reaction is to drop down really far away and wait until the guy notices him instead of just nabbing him right then and there. So Carradine makes him look like a total punk and runs away when suddenly some other guy dressed like a thug from the Hood, who just happens to be passing by, helps him hijack a car, and they shove the hostage into the passenger seat and take off. Then Spider-Man catches up to the car after some embarrassing programming, and the hostage is now in the back seat because they only had one animation built for getting her out of there. The guy in the back then starts waving around a machete, to which Spider-Man responds by killing him with severe whiplash by tethering him to a building with a short web line as he's ejected from the car going 70 miles an hour. Which he does all the time, it's fine. Then Peter gets the hostage to safety while Carradine's grand plan comes to fruition, and he makes a full circle around the block, stopping near the same alley he just ran away from. But for some reason in all the hubbub, Carradine rolls the vehicle off the road, causing it to catch on fire, and he flees back into the alley he just left, with the guy who was webbed up 1 minute and 35 seconds ago being gone now. Now because Carradine's all alone, Cletus jumps out and stabs him to death only like 10 feet away from this massive car accident that tons of people saw. He also has time to bury the body under exactly 15 trash bags because he understands that we need a T rating. Regardless, he signs his work in blood and then escapes to some location within a 40-foot radius where Peter's spider sense could never possibly spot him. All this happened in like 18 fucking seconds while Spider-Man turned a corner to get back here. This mission basically sets up the plot for the whole game, and I want you to think about that because clearly no one else did when they made this game.
Help! Help! Please! Please! Help! Oh, Spider-Man. Boy, am I glad you're here. Listen, a big furry thing just came along here, sat right on my grape soda. If I hadn't been off duty, why, I'd have arrested him for unlawful sitting.
Wow, Peter's closet consists entirely of assorted Spider-Man costumes that he leaves out in the open while he's out of the house all day. No wonder he only ever wears one outfit. Gee, I wonder if he's Spider-Man. Still not as bad as the time Aunt May just flat out found the suit and Peter said, it's just a Halloween costume. And she actually bought that explanation. After looking at this one for a while, I have to say I was way too rough on the first Amazing Spider-Man game about its graphics. That game looks like Crysis compared to this. I'm not of the belief that graphics make the game or anything, but it certainly helps you appreciate it more when the characters don't look like abominations that attended Uncanny Valley High School together. All the characters have such derpy faces and plastic hair. Harry Osborn looks like an angry Ken doll, and he always has this look on his face like he just smelled something really awful. Peter's lip sync is at From Software levels of not even trying. Aunt May looks like... I don't know, just look at her. Jesus. Pretty much the only character in the game that looks well modeled is Kraven. Not even Peter looks that detailed. Then again, the long, drawn-out dialogue segments are actually worth sitting through to laugh at all the bugs. Jesus, I hate this. The odd jobs on the side are a mess and weigh down the entire game in terms of quality. The system in place for making these more necessary to do than, well, not at all, is that Spider-Man's public image is affected by whether he helps out or not. So if you do the side jobs, the reporter from the last game explains that Spider-Man is awesome on the news, and if you screw up, J. Jonah Jameson complains about how terrible you are at the whole responsibility thing. I understand the idea, but a still image with recycled dialogue playing over and over, as well as a meaningless karma meter, don't incentivize you to do jack shit. This bar turning red only means more enemies show up in the city to attack you. But if you go from story mission to story mission quickly enough, you won't even have to worry about them. It also doesn't help that every single side mission is awkwardly designed or broken. The street criminals aren't really even doing anything except standing around looking suspicious until you drop down awkwardly and fight them. Don't be so quick to judge, Spider-Man. I mean, look at those guys. What if they were asbestos workers and lost the keys to the building? You, look like you need some help there. You know, just keep at it, buddy. You almost got it. Any second now. That thing's coming loose. Just keep... Have you tried jimmying the lock with, like... You know? Yeah? Okay, well... I mean, we could do, like, the Jessica Jones thing, and I could just break it off the lock. Almost there. The photo missions now consist of taking pictures of police officers standing around near laptops. Oh boy, that's even more interesting than the fucking bench! They really went the extra mile on that one. The missions where you fight gangs that are holed up somewhere are poorly laid out and consistently glitchy. Jesus. Oh my god. Oh my god, I didn't mean to... Are you okay? And the worst of the worst are the missions where you pull people from burning buildings. So, seeing inside of a burning building is hard enough already, but let's add a layer of difficulty beyond that. The Spider-Sense/Detective mode thing makes all textures disappear from the walls. So you're in a silhouetted room and the only thing visible is the fire. I have to use this to see where the civilians and sprinklers are, but at the cost of being able to navigate this room in any capacity, to the point that it's worth it to just skip all these missions to save your sanity. Web zipping in and out of the windows is a train wreck because the detection on the approach point is all fucked up, and I'll spend half the time crawling around on the wall while the people inside start looking like my preference of steak, and the media gets a helicopter view of the whole debacle.
Some poor soul got trapped on the 4th floor. Never made it out.
Okay, fuck it. Just skip all these. It's not worth it to get a little blue progress bar to pat you on the head for wasting time. We're sticking with the story missions. So Carnage being the main antagonist of this game was kind of bold and unique, being that Venom wasn't even introduced yet and the movie series was still looking like it had a lot of ground to cover. I remember rumors that they would attempt Venom again in The Amazing Spider-Man 3, so I do feel like this game is gun jumping on adapting the story. Speaking of, what was the plan for the sequel if Gwen isn't here and her death isn't even addressed? I can't help but think there's an alternate universe out there where Sony hadn't jumped ship with the franchise and Beanox had to make Amazing Spider-Man 3. A game where Peter actively avoids mentioning Gwen's existence at all costs because the narrative is now disconnected to the point of no return. Movie tie-in games are tricky. They have to represent what they're based on without contradicting or impeding on that material, and both of these games fail at that. There's bombs planted all across the city. Do you know what that means? I better head home then, it's dangerous out here. Someone with training needs to handle this. Just kidding!
I've planted bombs underground, and in a few minutes, Manhattan will burn.
No way am I letting anyone set off bombs in my city.
I have to find those bombs.
Uh-oh, more hostages and a bomb. Have to be really careful here.
They left a clue that'll help me track down those bombs.
Get to the bombs! They're trying to blow up the courthouse!
Throughout downtown are bombs I've planted, filled with a deadly gas. When they go off, well, use your imagination.
This is bad. They've planted bombs all over the subway. Even in this room. I'll have to deal with the Green Menace later. I can't let those bombs go off.
Start the timer on the bomb and take out all the hostages.
That's that. There's still at least one bomb out there. Better track it down.
Listen, these crazies have chained our boss to a bomb up ahead.
The robbers have been taken care of, but what can I do about the bomb? Think, Spidey, think!
Help! This thing could go off at any moment.
Heads up! I got a live one!
Wow, who knew disarming bombs was so easy?
Nice try, hero. But our boss always has a backup plan. He's planted bombs all over the walls of the building. No one can get to them in time.
This belongs at the bottom of the river.
What kind of twisted freak plants bombs on walls as a backup plan?
Okay, Dynamite. You can go home now. No one plants bombs in my city. No one.
Leave it for the bomb squad. Yeah, whatever. From now on, I am the bomb squad.
Okay, enough fan service, back to the video. The worst part of the plot is that Cletus Cassidy becomes Carnage from an Oscorp experiment, and his screen time can be measured in a single boss fight. This is such a great character, and using him only for one fight feels almost disrespectful. His role in the story before this doesn't really work for his character, and I thought really hard about how this game could have been improved. Replace Carnage with Sin Eater. It's that simple. Now, for those who don't know, the Sin Eater was a serial killer who targeted public officials that were corrupt and didn't fit in with his notions of morality. He ran around blowing people away with a shotgun because they were involved with blue-collar crime, and they would have gotten away with it if it weren't for his actions. He also became so mentally unstable that he killed Police Captain Gene DeWolf, for reasons I won't spoil. It's a really great storyline, and I highly recommend these issues to check it out. This character would have been great to fill the role of the controversial serial killer that gets Spider-Man questioning his own morals. And I don't know if they had the rights, but Kraven's role would have been better if he had been swapped out with the Punisher, which is more of what they tried to make him into. I think they could have done this because Kingpin is typically cited as a Daredevil villain, but he first appeared in Spider-Man. Well, Punisher's first appearance was in a Spider-Man book too. And this isn't a movie, so I'm sure they could have gotten away with inserting him in the game without stepping on any toes at the MCU. I mean, it's too late now because the Berlin Wall keeping Spider-Man out is gone, but I still think it's worth mentioning. The story was sadly just below what could have made it the saving grace of this game. Overall, it's a game that is full of almosts. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is a glitchy nightmare. The gameplay ranges from being really dull to being simply okay at best. And the story is just short of being a good one. I think that the most difficult part about playing this is that it's hard to figure out who to blame. Was Activision just slowly dismantling the franchise to focus on other things, and that's why everything looks so cheap? Or was the development team just desperate to rush it out and move on to the next one because it became so hard to care when the budget cuts came? I guess in the end, no one's really to blame. The situation just sucks. It's sad that things decayed so much over the years that game changers like Spider-Man 2 or masterpieces like Ultimate and Web of Shadows, or even lesser known but still well-told crossover games all led to this attempt At the time, Batman was making his comeback and rising from a career in shitty games and becoming the new giant of the genre, while the original pioneer of superhero games fell apart and was pretty much forgotten. There was a clear love of the character behind this game, or else they wouldn't have put in so many small story nods or character homages like the comic shop, Stan's heartfelt advice, or all the comics sprinkled throughout the game. But that doesn't excuse everything else for being so underwhelming or downright broken. I'd have to say that I certainly don't recommend this one. 10 out of 10, too much Call of Duty. Well, I did it. I reviewed all of them. Excluding shitty ports, of course, but I may get to those in time. It's been just under a year since I made the very first part of this series. I think we've all had a few laughs. We learned a lot more about one of our favorite fictional characters, as well as the inherent difficulty of portraying him correctly in video games. And most important of all, we came out of it with that Bomb Squad joke, with which many memes and t-shirts will be created. Farewell, my friends. I'm going to figure out what the hell I'll review next. Or wait, I'll just let you pick. Yes, that's right, you! Here's a straw poll. What do we talk about now? Okay, I'll wait here while you go do it. Did you do it? Still loading the page? Okay, I'm still here. Just checking is all. Alright, just click one of those. Alright, done? Okay, cool. See you later. But wait! There's more! You didn't think I'd close this thing off without answering the question on everyone's minds, right? What really was the best Spider-Man game? Well, the answer is a bit more complicated than that, because it actually is Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 3 is the shining example of excellence among an ocean of garbage in the genre, and it's the perfect example of how important it is to check your facts before making a review. Okay, yes, I wasn't doing the swinging right. You can jump at the end of your swing. Despite my incompetence, it still didn't make this bullshit go any smoother. I'll tell you that for free. Anyway, this is the paragon of virtue, and Batman wishes his games were this well crafted. Just kidding, it's a tie. Web of Shadows and Ultimate are the best examples of what it takes to get the job done. Both of them had solid and unique gameplay, interesting stories, accurate portrayals of the character, great casts of side characters, awesome mechanics that haven't been replicated yet, and best of all, they captured the heart of the comics and how it should feel to have the weight of the whole city on your red and blue clad shoulders. Ultimate was like seeing a comic play out on screen with you at the helm of the youngest and most badass version of Spider-Man from the PlayStation 2 era. Web of Shadows presented a dark and epic tale that explores the decisions Spider-Man makes to save the city, and it shows what it's like to be seduced by power, whether you realize it or not. I was originally sort of hard on this game for being darker than usual, but after reading stories like Kraven's Last Hunt or A Child Within, I now understand that Spider-Man's stories should be allowed some variety when it comes to tone. The stuff he sees on a day-to-day basis isn't always something to make jokes about. I really had to fight the urge to be a biased jackass and just pick my favorite ones for the best of the best, but objectively speaking, the ones that I like the most aren't the greatest. So if you want, get these ones too, because they're pretty damn good. But this is the silver medal category. I'm sure I'll get a lot of people saying Spider-Man 2 was one of, if not the absolute best, but I feel like that may be nostalgia getting in the way. I wanted to make sure that my love for this game didn't cloud the fact that there are some problems. Tobey Maguire's voice acting needed some work.
Didn't your mom tell you not to hit girls?
The side quest system was a little wonky and needed some fine-tuning. And the final boss was a marketing ploy to raise sales for replacement controllers after so many mysteriously exploded against the walls of our homes in 2004. It is definitely a great game, and I can't count the amount of times I've played it, but it just doesn't reach that threshold. It was the step in the right direction to end all steps in the right direction. So more than anything, we should respect this game. It put us on the path to bigger and better things by daring to have new ideas and show that you could pull something truly amazing out of the character for this medium. This is the archetype that so much of the genre is built on top of, and its innovations are exceptional among shit like... In fact, I'd be as bold as to say it's not the best Spider-Man game, but it is one of the absolute best superhero games. I think out of them all, The very first one is my undisputed favorite game. The PlayStation 1 games are memorable and charming comic book fun that captures the essence of the character well. Yeah, it's a little cheesy in places, but it's what made me fall in love with the story and the character and put me on the path to getting here, talking into a microphone in a room by myself. It's been awesome finding my place on YouTube and hearing from so many people who love this stuff as much as I do. All the comments from people talking about their thoughts of the games, their favorite storylines, their recommendations for things to read and watch. It's been great getting to express my feelings about these things, since a lot of these observations and ideas have been in my head for years with no way to get them across until now. And it's still a little strange to me that a series like this actually found such a big audience. Thanks for watching, everyone. And thank you for not picking Ultimate Alliance in that straw poll, because that would take forever to edit. You didn't, right? Right? Oh, God.
What's the matter, Peter? You look like you lost your last friend. Hey, but I know for a fact you've still got at least one.
All in all, Spider-Man is one of my all-time favorite comic characters, and he always has been. But capturing what he is and what he's supposed to mean is no easy task. And every game gets at least something right, even the bad ones. Here's hoping that the next one does even better than its lineage and makes us all proud. And even if it's not as good as we're all hoping for, it'll be a step up from hitting rock bottom.
And hey, take it from me, you are one of those heroes. So what do you say? Are you gonna go out there and prove it? I want you to do it for Uncle Ben, and for me.
Yeah, Stan. I will.
I think after so many years of waiting for something to surprise us all again, it's easy for people to get jaded and start picking it apart before it even releases. But where's the fun in that? Let's all sit back and just see how it goes, because, really, there's nowhere to go but up.
No matter how much I might wish things were different, there's only one Spider-Man.
Have more fun! You're a superhero. You swing through New York City in brightly colored tights.
My hubris, my vanity cost Rosie her life. Now I must set things right.
You can't take the other from me. I will take the girl from you.
The one, the only Spider-Man. Except no substitutes.
Get your butt kicked by a 15-year-old kid.
Which, of course, leads to nonsense like this. Being Spider-Man has given me a lot and taken a lot away. But one thing never changes. My responsibility to use my powers for others before myself, no matter what the cost.
Fixes it so that everyone gets to live happily ever after.
O'Hara, if you don't get that I can't turn my back on danger, no matter what the cost, then you've got no business calling yourself Spider-Man.
Yeah, well, I prefer life this way. It's who I am.
Must be nice.
What?
Knowing who you are.
Eddie. Out there. And I don't know if I'm scared of him or for him.
That's right. My flesh. My mind. My heart. Time to die. Like a man. Our fathers died to create me. And now
Be with me. together we can be whatever we want. Free from want, free from responsibility, free to have fun.
Can't do that. You know it, Felicia.
Can't and won't.
Same thing.
I made a decision. I know who you are. I know the life I'm choosing.
And for once, things look pretty good for our hero.